Hello, viewers. Today I'll be going over a run I did for a draft tournament called TDT. I've been going through solo tours for a long time, and I realized I guess they can only get so fun. So I decided to try my hands at a team tournament because, I kind of knew it would be fun to do, and I've obviously never done it before, so I wanted to try it out, for the first time. This tournament is okay, it's not at the upper level of draft, but it's kind of up there. The highest level of draft in the team tournament scene is actually run by King L5 called DPL. Uh, Hoping to get drafted in that, probably not, but that would be exciting. But anyways, now I'm forced to be stuck with TDT at least. It's got some good players, definitely definitely decent reviews for it. Um, and I had a pretty awesome team. I have no real complaints about them. That's kind of a lie, but whatever. Um, they they kind of let me draft my own team that I wanted to use for the majority of the tournament, and then so here's the product of my drafting. I really liked this team actually. Uh, it's just got Mons I believe in a lot. Tauros, Iron Hands. These are all some Mons I thought were. I mean, not they're not underrated. They're just good. I think. Um, the only the only problem I do have with this draft is that I wanted instead of the Lurantis, I wanted Brambleghast to replace it. But the team was saying no, and no one believed in Brambleghast. So then they didn't let me get it, and that honestly, in hindsight, would have made the team way better. But otherwise, you got your good Terra users, Torn, Iron Moth. Although I kind of think Torn is a bit overrated, but it's whatever. I really like the Iron Moth though. And then you just got bulky offense with Tinglu, Tauros, Iron Hands. Between those three, and then even the Tinkaton, which is an okay mon. Between those mons, it's really easy to check basically every mon. I think the only real threats for my team were Terra Lando, where dual stab just crushes the whole team, and then even a Great Tusk, since the reason I wanted Brambleghast was for specifically Great Tusk, because as you can see, the Great Tusk spins on the whole team, and its stab combo is really annoying to deal with. Torn is the only one that resists it, and Torn is kind of frail and can die to a rock move. So that's why I was really scared of Tusk. And the other glaring weakness is that there's no hazard removal. Um, but I think I would with how good I thought the team was. I think there were definitely ways I could get around that. So that being said, I'll get into my matchups and then go over the team I used in the games and whatever. Um, okay, here was my first matchup versus the Knuckle Stackers. I was on the Hoenn Goldmines. I'm too lazy to go over our team roster. Uh, my opponent this week, week one, was actually someone I've never heard of, or I guess I saw them in the Mafia a bit. Uh, Ben Carbs. But that it says nothing about the player if you've never heard of them. From my game against them, I think they're a decent player. Just no complaints there. So recognizing the name or not, it doesn't say everything. Looking at this matchup, here was the great tuss I was terrified of, and it came to haunt me. Um, Iron Moth was honestly super annoying to switch into. I mean, that's just Iron Moth in general. It's really annoying to switch into if it's Terrifier specs. Uh, well, at least in their case, they had a Slow King, so that set wouldn't work in my case. I was trying to make Ting Lu the switch in the entire time, but it always just took too much damage in Mox from Overheat, so that was kind of annoying to deal with. Um, and at first I thought hands would be useless because there's a great tusk, but then I started to notice that all the torn switches, belly bolt and slow king, um, mostly they get absolutely foddered by hands. So I thought I could set up on them, and just to make Great Tusk easier to deal with, you can just have a resist berry. So I mean, that was just my basic strategy. Just use Torn as a pivot to get in my hand. Like, okay, first, like Ting Lu kind of beats Slow King, kind of beats Belly Bolt as well. So it's like early on, I was trying to go from Torn to Ting Lu so that I could get a Ruination off on Tusk, which would likely be the switch in. Um, and then go back to Torn, and then go back to Hands now to like get Hands rolling. Um, so basically, the early game idea was to have Hands as my breaker, and then Iron Moth kind of my cleaner, but then also Tauros. It I wanted it to be banded. It kind of is annoying to like figure out what move to use. Like, you want to hit Noivern with Stone Edge. You also want to hit Slowking with Wild Charge, which was why I wanted to keep it as my cleaner rather than my breaker, so that I didn't really have to worry about which button to click on the early game, because like hopefully it'd be simplified by the late game. And then Iron Moth, I didn't really know what to do with it, because I mean, it was good. It was good, but initially, like I instantly thought Terra Dark would be good. Obviously, like it hits Slow King, it resists Sucker Punch, and of course, Iron Moth might be like for the mirror matchup. It'd want to be Psychic to hit my Iron Moth, so Terra Dark would be there to negate that. And otherwise, it just does pretty well to the rest of the team. So then, it didn't fill a specific role in this matchup. It was just there as like a pretty solid mon to deal with. Like, it could come in on their Iron Moth as well. Like if Ting Lu eventually dies. So, but then like my Moth, at first it was supposed to be offensive, and then King L5 actually, who's been helping me, for only the first couple of weeks, but like I appreciate the help regardless. Um, he was the one that decided it should probably be Spadef, like longevity purposes, with Morning Sun, heavy duty boots, and because like I hated taking chip with the Great Tusk rocks, when I have a Torn and an Iron Moth, so I just decided to have heavy duty boots on both of them, and then like it could come in, the Iron Moth could kind of like wall the team a bit because like it's really hard to take down a Terra Dark Moth for them. King Gambit like kind of works, but you don't want to be switching in King Gambit on it. Like Slow King no longer works since I'm Dark type. Iron Moth, I was Spidef, so it's like it's not doing much to me. Rillaboom doesn't really work. Noivern doesn't really work. Belly Bolt doesn't really work. So like it's just a good mod. So anyways, with that said, I'll go over the team. I used oh, wrong visual. Wait, let me get up the visual. Oopsies. All right, here you go. Here's my team. The double boots. My two Terramons. Kind of what you have to do when you don't have removal. And there you can see Calm Nature, like extremely spit F Moth. The 16 speed was for the mirror. And funnily enough, that actually, spoiler alert, it actually came into play in the game. Oh, I also forgot to mention my Tinkaton I imagined would be the counter to King Gambit. Because I know I have an Iron Hands and a Tauros, which you'd imagine would both be pretty good at dealing the Gambit. But also, they could be Supreme Overlords, so I don't want to like rely on Tauros. I mean, Defiant, so I don't want to rely on Tauros. And then Hands was also like supposed to fill another role. So then so this is kind of what I was saying about Tinkaton being an okay mod. Like it doesn't like if you want other mods to fill other roles, it can be decent at checking mods. It has good support moves like Encore, even Foul Play, T Wave. So I think it was a decent check to King Gambit. Um, Something I also like to do when I was prepping for these matchups was thinking of what Terra types the Mons could be. To be honest, I had no clue what Moth, or actually no, I had an idea what Moth would be. I thought it would be Fire, but like I didn't really care too much about the Moth, but the Gambit was what really concerned me. And then I thought it'd just be Fairy type, to deal with the Tauros and the Iron Hands, but I kind of like it kind of had issues there, so like honestly, I wasn't really sure. Maybe electric. But regardless, I think like just having helmet on my Tinkaton would make it a lot easier to deal with, just because I can encore it, and then it takes a bunch of chip, uh, and basically yeah, just chip it down, and then and the thing is, it's like it will never sweep because like I have good resists with Moth and with Tauros. So like just keeping the bulky Moth alive and healthy it would mean it's just nice into the game. Like stop it from getting an SD with Encore and then chip it with the Tinkaton and then have Moth in the end to uh, pick it off basically. Um, the hands, yeah, Sugarberry, highly defensive and like a bunch of attack. Um, it was also nice that he had a Rillaboom because that would deter him from running EQ and instead run Headlong Rush, which would mean Play Rough at +2 kills. Otherwise, Play Rough at +2 does not kill. So I was thinking if and some of my mocks Belly Bolt was actually brought. So I was thinking, okay, if Belly Bolt is brought and I didn't get the Ruination chip on Tusk, I just click Drain Punch first because that would be better than clicking Play Rough. Uh, but then if Belly Bolt's brought, it's clicking Headlong Rush and Play Rough just kills, and that's nice. I also had an Assault Vest Ting-Lu because yeah, I was getting absolutely owned by what's it by Specs Moth, and since I wanted Ting-Lu to check the Moth the entire time, well, first the plan was first use Ting-Lu as a check and then go Moth the second time. Anyways, yeah, since Ting-Lu's only purpose was to check the Moth, it's like just make it make him as spit up as possible. Cause it's like, what are Hazards doing? You know, they have a Tusk that spins for free anyways. So, might as well get the most value out of this Ting-Lu. The Tauros, you know, the Choice Band, and then, notice that this doesn't have Jet. I wanted 5 moves on this Tauros. Wave Crash, Edge for the Noivern, Wild Charge for the Slowking, CC for Rillaboom, and um what's it? And then just Jet in general is like decent because like priority's nice. It wasn't for anyone specifically, but then Wave Crash was also just the generic click. Like it was pretty safe. So I mean, yeah, and then I was just wondering which one to have, and I didn't really know. Uh, I ended up just dropping Jet because I thought I didn't really need it, but then it ends up like kind of coming into play later on. Not really, but there's a chance it could have. Yeah, but with that being said, oh, also this tournament was kind of weird. It was like it was nasty plot torn just because I didn't really know what to do with the torn. It was mainly just a pivot, and yeah, it was just a pivot for the early game to get in stuff I wanted to get in. It was just nice as a flow charter, but like nasty plot, like in theory, kind of worked, you know. Um, Only the Noivern's faster, and like it doesn't do that much damage, and then otherwise, like everyone takes pretty big damage, but in practice, it just didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. I mean, no, not the way I wanted it to, not the way I expected it to. Like I expected it to do nothing. But anyways, let me get into the game. Alrighty, here's the game. Now, looking at his side, he actually benched the Belly Bull. What else did he bench? He benched, oops, wrong thing. The Knuckle Stack. Okay, I didn't even entertain the thought of Knuckle Stack coming. And I'm guessing they didn't entertain the thought of Lurantis or Knuckle Stack coming on my side, which I guess makes sense. And lo and behold, they did not come. I thought Rillaboom was kind of bad in this matchup. I have like a bunch of grass resist, and otherwise it's just doing nothing. And I have like a Torrent, so you can't even get chip with it. So otherwise it's just kind of whatever. Anyways, let's get into the game. My plan was to lead Tornadus as well to like get the flow charting or whatever I wanted to get. I think I kind of didn't really have a plan for. I didn't want Noivern lead to come in, but I guess it did. The plan here was, I guess, the Bleak Winds. I remember writing a plan about it, and I was kind of confused about what to do against Noivern, but like Bleak Winding is fine, I think. The problem is he Super Fangs, and then I missed. Off to a good start, and then I calced and I realized Draco killed. so I had to switch out. They clicked Super Fang again, and now I'm like at a terrible start already. But might as well get my Ruination off. He taunts. I'm like an AV mod, which is funny. Here I get the Ruination off, hoping that like maybe he stays in and does something else, like not accept roosting. So I like try to pray he sacks the Noivern, and then he roosts anyways. So like the Stone Edge kind of doesn't do much. And then here I just Ruination again, because like I'm predicting a switch. He probably doesn't want to stay until like me Stone Edging a couple of times. Because like yeah, I can Stone Edge lock him. Ruination, it does the 50. Because like a Stone Edge, like if I hit the not your normal effective Stone Edge plus the super effective Stone Edge, it kills. Anyways, he brings in the Rillaboom, and then here I was just planning on going Tornadus, you know, to start the flow charting. So yeah, he knocks off. It doesn't really matter too much. Here, like, I'm just gonna go hard, and that's just kind of what my plan always was. I go hands, and then he ends up protecting, which I guess makes sense to heal back more, so it's like, the double didn't really work the way I wanted it to, but at the same time, Rillaboom kind of sucks, so I thought I could still use this as setup fodder. And fortunately, I was correct. Whenever it does 34, which was really bad damage, so I get up my SD, and now I'm like a big threat. So now I can just click Drain Punch for free on like maybe the incoming Tusk or whatever. He still stays and clicks Wood Hammer. I guess it's nice chip, but then I get a lot back with Drain Punch, and the terrain healing me. So I come out of it with 45. Which is pretty good, because if you look at his Terra types, the replays don't really work with Terra types, kind of annoying. But you can tell based on the ordering, the Gambit's Fairy and the Moth is Grass. So I was like thinking, okay, it's not a Fire Moth, so it's like, is it even good at nuking the hands? So I was wondering if there's even anyone that could revenge the hands. It didn't seem like there was, so I thought I'd like just pick up another kill, and then Great Tusk comes out. And then you'll see at the end, the turn started, but you can see here that Mr. Caramel Prince 72 over here, my friend Blitz, he seems to catch on to the fact that this hands with an unrevealed item is likely Shuka. What's your Iron Hands item? Can you tell me? The funny thing is, like, even if the guy knew it was Shuka, I don't see how he would stop it. So, like, this is a whatever play anyways. Headlongs into the Shuka, I live. And then, like I said, if there's Rillaboom, I click Play Rough. I click the Play Rough, and he gets blown up. And that's really nice. Here, I didn't really want to sack hands, because, you know, I had good switch-ins anyways. I bring in my Moth. He gets the special attack boost, so I'm like, you know, I'm not even going to stick around for that long, because I didn't want it. And then I noticed, when I Terra, like, because I was actually kind of scared of the Moth here, but then I noticed that damage was kind of low, so I was, like, thinking, what could this Moth be? Is it, like, possibly the same set as me? So then I just try to, like, identify what this Moth is, and seeing the Terra Blast damage, and also, the important thing is me moving first. I also terrored on the Psychic, which was really nice, kind of my plan, but, yeah, anyways. So then, like, I see it, he's Spidef, so then I'm thinking, like, that's actually really annoying to deal with, except for the fact that that makes my Tauros even better. So, now I notice that just, like, Tauros is kind of a big threat in this matchup for me. So I just had to use him well, sack the hands, and then... Oh, I thought I brought in Tauros. Oops. I guess I was just trying to make the most use out of Tinglu that I could. Like, maybe force out a Terra. I think that was the play I was going for. Force out a Terra out of this Moth. Because I was saying that it was harder to, like, click a button with Tauros when I don't even know what's coming in. It's like there's still the Slowking and the Noivern left, so it's just a 50-50. Yeah, so I guess Tinglu's fine. What do I click here? Oh, he frisks the Assault Vest. Click Throat Chop. Oh, I remember this sweet sequence. Oh man, this sequence was terrible. Okay, I click Throat Chop. He roosts. I click Throat Chop again, and then I EQ on the Super Fang when I would have killed it. Dude, I thought he'd roost. And I also didn't even realize I could just Stone Edge. I like didn't even think about Stone Edge. I was thinking it was between Throat Chop and EQ, but I could just Stone Edge there. And then like I literally fail every single read. Okay, so I just like spam Throat Chop here, and then I Throat Chop there, EQing thinking he'd roost, and they're making fun of me in the chat. And then I EQ again. Oh my god, dude, this is so funny. And then and then finally I Throat Chop again, and Hurricane misses twice. So I got quite lucky there. Dude, I'm actually terrible at reads, 100. And yeah, I clicked Throat Chop, so it's finally dead. To be fair, I did miss Bleak when turn 1, which would have gotten chip on the Noivern, but that had to be a really funny sequence. And then here the Iron Moth comes back in. Okay, I sacked the Tinglu. Yeah, because I just want to, like, at this point, now that Noivern's dead, I just want to bring in Tauros for free. Now, I like wanted to test the waters with like what the Slowking and or like what just what his plan for Tauros was. So then over here I decided so like I decided for him like staying in and not tearing would be a nonsense play, and otherwise his two plays are clicking Terra or going to Slowking. So I thought going My Moth would cover both of those. Because the thing is, if he went Slowking, I was like kind of scared of T-Wave, but I thought Terra Blast would do enough that Tauros would just win with the chip on Slowking. That was my plan. And otherwise, if he Terras, now Moth just wins. So I think going Moth was just a good play. I go Moth, he goes Slowking. As I expected, now I just click Terra Blast, but then Terra Blast does 48. Because I thought it'd be a Fizdef Slowking, I really did. I guess it would be a special Spadef Slowking for Moth, like in hindsight, but I thought I guess Noivern would be the answer to Tauros or Rillaboom. So in hindsight, that was kind of a dumb play. 48. If he T-Waved me, that'd be annoying. Fortunately, he clicks Chili. Chili's back into Moth, the annoying Moth. But now I get the intel that like just Slowking is going to be his switch, so I can just click Wild Charge the next time. And he has no idea what my Tauros is. So, like, he thinks Slowking is a safe switch, but, you know, I'm banded. I click Fiery Dance just, like, fishing for special attack raise. Because the thing is, either I stay in and, like, because my ultimate plan was just to chip this in range where, like, they'd click Morning Sun. But then my secondary plan was just like, oh, if I can get lucky with Fiery Dance boosts, I can maybe 1v1 this. But then, like, ultimately I'm losing the 1v1 because his Fiery Dance is freer than mine. I don't get the boost in 2, and then he gets the boost. But then I'm thinking, okay, if I click Terra Blast twice here, judging from, like, he's, like, slightly less bulky than me. So judging from the Terra Blast damage earlier, scroll up, it was 25. Yeah, if I do 25 twice, like if I Terra Blast here and he doesn't click Morning Sun, he dies. So I'm thinking he just clicks Morning Sun here, which is better also because of snow. Morning Sun, as I expected, so I can bring in my Breaker Tauros, and now I'm actually ready to click a button versus him. So I'm thinking, okay, the two plays here are Terra Moth right now, or switch to Slowking. And if he Terras and I click Wild Charge, that's fine, because I can bring in Moth, and now Moth, like, super wins. But if he goes into Slowking, well, I just Wild Charged him and he's dead. So I thought Wild Charge was, like, by far the best play here. And he goes into Slowking, as I expected. Wild Charge nukes it. And from here on out, like, the game is looking solidly in my favor. I just need to bring Tauros back in again, and it just claims one each time. Of course, Tinkaton was my Gambit answer, so I bring it in. Doubles to Moth, good play. I double back to my Moth, because, like, my Moth is pretty safe into his Moth. And then I added bonus of him clicking Psychic. I guess he was scared of Tauros, but I never risk it there. I have a bunch of sacks. I Morning Sun up, and then here I realized Torn is just completely useless, you know. Kind of loses to Moth, kind of loses to Gambit. It's whatever. So I just sack it for chip. I was thinking maybe they'd Morning Sun there, and if they Morning Sun, like I have Nasty Plot to chip it down some more, but they didn't click Fiery Dance, so then it's low, and now I bring in Tauros, and it's just a pick one angle, I think. I wanted to Wave Crash here because I thought they wouldn't Terra, and then just Terra the Gambit, so then I'd have a stronger move, but in hindsight, like, I'm switching out to Tinkaton whether or not Gambit Terras. So I was thinking maybe I should just pray for the Iron Moth to Terra and then CC the King Gambit. Because CC actually kills the Moth from here, even if it doesn't Terra. So I should have, like, kind of banked for that, and then, like, I just get a clean win. But I click Wave Crash, they Terra, it doesn't even matter. So it's like a useless Terra. And now the King Gambit's weak to, I guess, like, Tauros CC, which I can't click, or Tinkaton Brick Break. My plan always was to bring Tinkaton in here. Here it comes out. Swords Dance, I encore it. Mental Herb, like, they were saying Mental Herb in the chat, but it wouldn't even have mattered if it was Mental Herb, because since it's fallen at 5, I can get the Intimidate off, and I live. So that wouldn't have mattered. But anyways, I Brick Break. Over here, I should have just doubled to Tauros and then CC. That would have just instantly won me the game. I thought I EV'd my Tinkaton to 2 KO with Brick Break. Because if you saw from before, I was like a bunch of EVs in attack. Like 120, I think. Because I thought that would 2-hit KO with Brick Break, like even max HP Gambit. I guess I thought wrong, or this Gambit's defensive. Either one. So I kind of choked like that. But I have Rocky Helmet, and it's in helmet range. So here I just encore it, but okay, the next turn I just attack, and then it dies to helmet. But that was honestly a choke, because if you remember earlier, my Tauros didn't have Aqua Jet. So that was King L5's fault. You know, blame all the problems with the team on him, etc. So if it was protective pads, I actually just lost, or I had to outplay Sucker, which is unlikely. Wait, actually I'm thinking about it. Okay, I probably did lose, yeah, but the optimal play, even if I didn't have Jet, was just to double to Tauros, bring in Tinkaton, and then spam Encore. That would force it to waste all of its Sucker PP so that I could Brick Break later, and then it just worked. So, kind of a joke. That's okay though, because it was a protective pad, and I don't have to worry about any of that, and then that's the win. Nice week 1 win. I think I was like the second person to play the entire tournament, and the first person to play played ADV. So you know it's not real. So I got the first real win, etc., etc. Nice win. Like, it kind of feels a bit bitter when you consider the Ting-Lu versus Noivern sequence that was like terrible, and then this end sequence that I kind of joked. Like, technically, if I did that Tauros play, it would have been a +3 win instead of a +2 win. But I can't complain about a win. That's just kind of weird. Anyways, on to the next game. All right, my next game was against Hengwini, otherwise known as Hygiene. I think I knew them from like Smogon. You know, they like fought in the finals game of the Smogon ORAS tour against King L5. And their Mega Binet got one shot by Lando T. Anyways, here, I mean, even when I was like looking at their teams, like before the matchups even like dropped, I was thinking that T-Spikes and just Hazards and general farm this team. So I instantly had to make my game plan around T-Spikes, and the best way I could think of was, you know, using Moth and as a lead, either Sash or Booster Speed, I thought. But then I was also thinking Booster Speed would be kind of better, because versus lead Gren, it's sort of the same, but also it like I can EV my Moth to only die to Gren if it clicks a physical water move, like Waterfall or something. Otherwise I like live pump. So the only reason I'd have Sash over Booster Speed is for the Arcanine, but So then I think I realized I could just simply cover that with Terra Water on my Moth. I wasn't actually planning on clicking Terra Water, which is the funny part. I was just planning on having like just scaring the Arcanine with Terra Water. And then also, you know, hit the Ursaluna as well. The Ursaluna was a big problem for the team, I guess. Just classic Ursaluna stuff. You know, I guess like I could have Tauros be an answer, but I mean, I could have done that really. Like that, I could viably do that, but I think I also wanted when I was looking at this team in prep, like before the matchups dropped, I was thinking a a banded water type would actually just blow up this team. You know, your resist are Greninja and Electrode. It's not looking good. So that was my entire plan. Orthworm is kind of sucks, you know. It's really easy for me to deal with substitutes, I think. Or I guess like just all my mons really hit the Orthworm well, like just prevented a sub. You know, Tinglu has Whirlwind, which I did have on my Tinglu, and I wanted to have it because of the Orthworm. Tauros was banded, Iron Hands is strong, Moth strong, Torn kind of strong. So I wasn't really worried about the Orthworm. In fact, given that my play was turn 1 and just T-Spikes, I was actually kind of scared of the stupid Hatchroom, and the people that helped me prep would know I was actually terrified of this nonsense. I still stand by it to this day, but like the Hatchroom would have been a better bring. No offense to the player, but like I was actually theorizing what team they could bring to actually like just destroy my team. And I was thinking a Wisp Arcanine would be really annoying to deal with. If I tried to make Tauros my switch in, it's just like now my breaker is nullified. And so my game plan was just like built around Tinglu being the most expendable mon on my team. So I thought I'd just make use of it early, get up hazards, whirlwind stuff, blah blah blah, Ruination, classic Tinglu. And you know, it's kind of hard to get rid of a Tinglu for this team anyways. So I thought it'd just be like, you know, Spadef Tinglu for the Greninja and the Arcanine, and the rest of the team doesn't really hit Tinglu that hard. And it could easily come in on Zapdos, could easily come in on Arcanine, I guess. And it'd be chill. And the whole in my first mock, the team worked my team worked well, except I lost the game because my Ursaluna, you also want to, Ursaluna is very fat, so I wanted a nuke for it. So I decided to have Specs Terrifying Torn, modest as well. Just to nuke that Ursaluna, and I lost the mock because I missed. Tough miss, whatever. And then so just because of that miss, King L5 said you should just not rely on the Torn hitting to counter the Ursaluna, and then instead he gave me this really dumb Torn set. I'll show it when I get into my build. Is this the build? Yeah, this is the build. As you can see, I have my lead Moth idea. The thing is, the lead Moth idea was actually kind of nice for multiple reasons, because it was also just good offensively, because it scares out Gren if they see I'm booster energy and they're not Sash or something, or it can bring down the Gren to Sash since I live the water type move, or if they try to get up spikes, it's even worse for them. And it was good against Zapdos if I didn't Terra. It was and then not many mons just want to switch into it, because with the Terra Water, Arcanine doesn't want to switch into it either when it usually would. So it's what do you use to counter the Moth, right? So it was multi-purpose. Tinkaton faster than Annihilate. I think I was 32 defense in the real game. When I fixed up the EVs to be 32 defense. It was the exact same set as last time. I just have Encore to beat Annihilate. But that's the thing about Tinkaton. You can always just make it check the opposing big threats because of how good its support moves are. Ting Lu, kind of classic Ting Lu, and I was actually thinking like, the other reason I was thinking Hatchroom could come was for Trick Room to work well with the Ursaluna, and then, but so then I just made these EVs look weird, like, you know, zero speed IVs and sassy nature to kind of just like shut down or just kind of in case they had Trick Room, you know. Tauros, Banded. Once again, I had actually the same game plan. Also speed ties the Zapdos, which is kind of why I had these like max. Kind of what my game plan with Tauros was. It's like the same thing as last time. You know, I was scared of static Zapdos, static Electrode or something, or just like helmets in general. So, and the thing is, like, Tauros was also my nuke, so I wanted to, you know, save it for the Annihilate, save it for the Ursaluna. It's ironic that I say save it for the Annihilate when I'm Intimidate, but like, it doesn't matter if it has attack if I just nuke it. So then I didn't want it to get static, because that would make my game plan like so much worse. So I was just planning on saving it for the end. So even if the Arcanine is out, like, Tauros is a hard counter to Arcanine, but like if I get Wisp, or even if I don't get Wisp and instead I click Wave Crash because it's kind of free, but then I hit the Zapdos and get static, it's much scarier. But anyways, yeah, so my game plan was to leave it for the end. And here's the Torrents that I was talking about anyways. It looks super weird. Also, something I noticed, like, an issue with Zapdos is that you can make any electric type like really fodder it. Like Iron Hands, I guess it's fighting, so it's not as much with Iron Hands, but like Iron Hands is also kind of broken, so Iron Hands easily fodders the Zapdos. Iron Hands, like, kind of the same set as last time. Sword Stance is, you know, just like set up and then just, you know, do some damage to the team. The thing is, the team actually didn't really have good answers to the Iron Hands at all. Like, besides the Ursaluna, like, no one could do like any significant damage to Iron Hands, so it really put in work. I was a bit scared of the Ursaluna actually for the Iron Hands, so like that was but then I had, you know, Protect to get that chip on it, and then obviously like I had to accept that I was like probably picking one to the Ursaluna, but then if it got hit by the T-spikes, I could like bring in my Torn and like do Torn stuff with it. So that was, I guess, the positive. And by Torn stuff, I mean substitute Protect. I'm also mono electric into the Ursaluna, which is funny. And it was my dedicated Ursaluna counter, but like you can Protect substall it, which is funny. Otherwise, yeah, the build's whatever. I was winning most of my mocks, but I was still terrified of the game because no one really brought Hatchroom, even though, like, I still agree that Hatchroom would be good for their team. Anyways, let me get into the game. Here's the game. Didn't even have to cut. Let's see. They benched the Ursaluna. I mean, not Ursaluna. What am I saying? They benched the Orthworm and the Hatchroom. So I was like really glad to see that, and I was also glad to see that I need to start. It's annoying that you need to start the games to see the Terra types. Okay. Here, I got it. Oh, that's your Dunk's Terra types. I was confused. Like, why is the Zapdos fighting? As you can see, Water, and then Electric Torn. And then his Terra types, Electric Annihilate, which I did think was good. And Ghost Ursaluna also, which I thought was good. I thought Ghost and Electric were just two good types into my team. Because, like, you know, my Dark type is a Ting-Lu, and my Ground type is also a Ting-Lu. And Ting-Lu, you know, isn't really, like, an offensive threat you need to worry about. Like, EQ, I mean, it has good attack. Like, I wanted to completely disrespect it. I just, like, somewhat disrespect it. And Annihilate's fighting stab kind of, like, makes Ting-Lu not want to deal with it, because Drain Punch also, since Ting-Lu has high health, Drain Punch is healing a lot, even if it takes a lot. Okay, I leave the Iron Moth. Greninja lead. This is kind of what I expected and hoped. Even better is that they went to Arcanine. I guess they read the fact that I wasn't willing to Terra this Moth. Like, you know, given that it was a lead, it was kind of expendable. So I guess they knew that Arcanine would wall it even if I was Terra Water. Yeah, props to them for that read. But as I was planning here, like, the thing is, the worst case scenario that I was still willing to accept was Moth dying on lead. And that would only come in the worst case scenario of Arcanine being the lead. Otherwise, yeah, like, I got my T-Spike up. And now I can save the Moth, which was honestly, like, really nice. I had U-turn for the Hatchrim, by the way. And you can also see here that, like, 2 people that I talked to about the matchup, so, where's the Hatchrim, and then where's the Hatchrim? Because, like, they knew I was complaining about the Hatchrim, because I'm telling you, it was actually good for this team. Yeah, and then, like I said, Wisp, like, they click Wild Charge to catch the Tauros, but like I said, I feel like Wisp is way better if you want to catch the Tauros, because, like, it's not completely useless if Ting Lu ends up being the switch-in. You know, like, something I noticed, like, I learned, like, I feel like I did get better while playing in this tournament, but something I did notice is that, you kind of want to, sometimes, like, draft players are, like, you know, you never know who you're fighting, right? So they can make all sorts of plays. So sometimes it's just good to have a play that's a mid ground for, you know, because, like, Ting Lu is a decent switch into Arcanine, as much as, like, Tauros is a slightly better switch in, like, in theory, but you still want to have something that covers the Ting Lu. Wisp is nice because, you know, like, now the EQ isn't OHKOing the Arcanine, and also it just gets nice chip on the Ting Lu. So that's why I thought, like Wisping the Tauros is great, and even better than Wild Charging it, honestly, and then also Wisping the Ting Lu is pretty good, which is why I thought it was a better mid ground. Now I click Ruination, because, like, you know, it's kind of free, you get the chip on whatever comes in. Electrode comes in, and I noticed it was Boots, so I started noticing a pattern, because it's like, you know, Arcanine likely is Boots on a team that doesn't have any hazard control. The Gren switched out, so it's likely not Focus Sash. This is Boots. Zapdos Boots is standard, so I was thinking this had to be some, like, like a high amount of Boots on one team. So then I was thinking, honestly, like, I don't need to hazard stack anymore, like, making the read on how many Boots they have on this team. My initial plan, like, if this was a mock, my initial plan was actually just to spike up here, but seeing how many Boots, like, I predicted, I was saying, like, you know, I'll just take my damage. So I click EQ here, and man, Electrode is so bad. 38, and then EQ does 51 to kill. This is what I was saying, you know, like, Electrode was kind of, like, was the bring over Orthworm bench, but I was thinking, instead of Orthworm or the Electrode, which ended up being completely useless, you can bring in a Hatchrim, and that would mean your team doesn't have to be 5 billion Boots, and, you know, you can also kind of invalidate the Moth. Because the reason I was scared of the Hatchrim, like, only later on in the week, that's when I was panicking, was because it came to my attention that Hatchrim wasn't a Fairy type. I thought it was. But then, it actually kind of walls the Moth, like, to some extent. And if my plan was to T-Spike turn 1, I actually had no idea what I'd do if there was a Hatchrim. Anyways, the Electrode dies, and now I'm in a fantastic position. Like, I'm already up when my initial lead plan was to be down. I was planning to be down a Moth and down a Ting Lu, since Ting Lu was pretty expendable. But with that being said, my plan was to be down, but for them not to have 6 Boots. And you can see Gren is Boots as well. So, you know, like, I can't really compare this to the mocks, because it's not gonna go as the mocks did. Here, but then I bring in hands, and now, like, they got out of their stab, so whatever they do is doing, like, literally nothing to hands. So I can SD here, because, like, you don't want you don't want to stay into a fighting type, or you don't want to switch into Ursaluna with the threat of a fighting type move, so I thought I could just really SD here. Zapdos comes out, but like Zapdos is like terrible into Iron Hands. So I can just like get that chip, you know, Thunder Punch. It does 60, pretty huge damage. Now here I just like, I wanted to just stop them from healing, and you know me, I'm like really bad at doing roost reads. But the thing is, the thing about Drain Punch here is that like it prevents them from roosting, but it's also like it's not like EQ where I don't get any damage at all if they roost, or if they don't roost. So like I think Drain Punch was just safe here. It's just a nice middle ground. So like I decided to just spam it to eventually kill the Zapdos. Because like if I can make trades here with the Iron Hands, it's just nice for me because like I'm already up. So like just going 1-for-1 means I'll eventually win. And they roost up here, which was fortunate for me because then I just go for another Drain Punch. I got the low roll, so I don't kill the Zapdos. But then Hurricane misses, and then I still don't get confused hits. So then now I'm at 84, and that works really well with my hands. And Gren comes back in instead of Ursaluna, which, like, maybe Ursaluna would have been better to kill the hands, but I guess they wanted to keep it healthy, and it's also the win con for them, so. And then here, I should have read the extra sensory. I'm kind of bad for this one. I clicked Drain Punch. So I could have just one-shot the Gren. I didn't like want to play any games with Protect for 6% and then let them get another spike, so I just decided to attack again. But then here I misclicked because I meant to click Drain Punch, and then I ended up clicking Thunder Punch. I literally misclicked, but that's okay. I killed the Gren anyways. Now here with the Arcanine, like, since it revealed to be Wild Charge over Wisp, and also the Zapdos and the Trode were dead, I think it was time for, like, the Breaker to break. And even if they Wild Charge, it's not doing that much. So, like, I think I calced it so that I'd live the Wild Charge, and then, or, like, eat the Wild Charge, and then Wave Crash the Arcanine, and still live the Recoil. So then I can nuke something else. So I think that's why next turn, yeah, I go into Tauros. Because once it reveals not Wisp, like, I think I'm okay to just bring it in, even on a Wild Charge. And they ended up clicking Flare Blitz, which worked really nicely in my favor. Here I Wave Crash, blow it up. That actually killed Arcanine's, like, whole ancestry. Annihilate came, and, you know, Tauros was supposed to be Manuk for Annihilate anyways. Annihilate also reveals boots, so yeah, this really was just a 6 boots team. Yeah, the Annihilate comes in, I click Wave Crash, you know, to nuke it. I was like kind of scared of Rest coming out there, but it's whatever. I'm not even sure what I would have went into there if Rest did come out, but I ended up clicking Bulk Up, which is perfectly fine, because, you know, the Moth I left in the back, comes back in. Let's go! Fiery Dance to kill it, and I get the special attack boost, so, like, how could this go, like, how could this not be good? No, how could this go any better, is what I was thinking. But Ursaluna comes out, it's literally 6 boots. I click Fiery Dance, because I don't want to risk Energy Ball, you know, it's like just a safe play. I realized, I could have Terrored here, honestly, and the thing is, I calced that if it was max attack Ursaluna, I died to the EQ, but, like, chances are with a Boots Ursaluna, I wouldn't expect it to be max attack. I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have been worth it to Terra there. But anyways, yeah, my Moth dies. Now here's, like, something crucial, because, spoiler alert, this game goes on for a long time. What I should have done to, like, absolutely get, like, at this point, I thought I was just, like, you know, too narrow visioned. I just thought I won no matter what I did. It didn't even occur to me that this could be Res Talk, so if I wanted to guarantee a win, what I should have done is gone into Tinkaton and clicked Encore. Encore into EQ, and then go Torrent, Nasty Plot up, and then kill it. That would be a guaranteed way to win. Instead, what I do is just I go Torrent to get the chip, and then I click Terra Blast, keep it low, and then it clicks Rest, and that's when I realized, oh wait, things are actually getting serious. Now what I actually should have done here is, like, just gone something, and then try to go Tinkaton on the turn, rest is about to end so that I can encore, or no, when like they're expected to rest so that I could encore into rest. Unfortunately, what I end up doing is that I go into Tinkaton early, which, dude, I don't know, I was like actually choking on balls here. Dude, it's so funny. Dude, Sleep Talk Body Slam, it does 44. And I also, earlier on, I wanted to be Citrus Berry just to keep Tinkaton alive for a bit. Because, like, I wanted Tinkaton to live. But sometimes I wanted Rocks up as well during mocks. So, like, I wanted just to live longer and gave it Citrus. Because I wanted to keep it for the Annihilate. Because the Annihilate was actually a real problem for my team if it was, like, Rest Talk or something. Turns out this was the Rest Talk mod, so I actually had to worry about this instead. So now that's why Tinkaton came in. But then Body Slam kills after, like, it kills. Like, if you assume it does 44 again. So, like, I was actually in real danger. Not really. Okay, it depends. Like, I think Ting Lu could have decently taken on the Ursa Luna. Like, for quite a while. It's a Ting Lu. And then, like, because if I keep it to 25 with 2 Ruinations, then Torn will kill it. But I don't know how to, like, particularly guarantee that. And there was also a chance that Hands was faster with the 16 speed EVs I gave it, because it's a speed tie. So, like, I really had no idea if I did end up losing. And then it clicks Body Slam again, so then I thought I'd die, but luckily I took 6%. Which is really nice, because I can Gigaton here, keep it low, so that it's forced to click Rest here. And then now, because, like, you can't encore someone into Sleep Talk, but you can encore them into Rest. And now I encore into Rest, and now I lock them. So here, skip ahead. Okay, no, skip too far. Now, yeah, once it runs out of rests, Gigaton, and now I can just kill it with a combination of, like, anything, really. And then this ends up killing it, even though from before it did 25, but I could have just killed with Ting Lu afterwards, so it's whatever. Just like that, I pick up the win. So, like, okay, there are 2 things I have to say about this. One thing I have to say about this is, I sure would have liked Terra Flying Specs Torn there, right? But then also, you kind of have, like, I can't kind of chalk it up just to that, like, the prep there, but also like the bad plays with me not encoring there. So it was like, you know, it was like the King L5's fault, but it was my fault just as much, you know. I can't blame him for everything. He did like make a lot of my sets. Wait, did he? Okay, I know he helped a lot with the week 1, like the Moth. He came up with the Spidef Moth, and that was kind of genius. So, like, you can't really hate on him for messing up, like, 1 Torn set. And also, like, for our week 1, he came up with this set he gave to Peyton, which was some lead Quack set with weakness policy, and that thing actually 6-0'd from lead. So, you know, he can be like a genius 90% of the time. It's okay. He can mess up like 1 Torn set or 2. I won the game anyways, so, like, I always feel like I always walk out of these games like feeling a bit bitter, because, like, wow, that ending was terrible. Even if I won that, it didn't feel like a win, you know. But it was a win, and now I'm 2-0, and, you know, can't really complain, etc. On to the next game. Alright, now for the last matchup of pre-mids. Once again, I'm using the same team, One Trick Pony. And on the other side, you can see there's a Big Waker. Now, I get that I have to respect the Big Wake in that, you know, it hits for 1 Wakillian damage, but, like, even though I'm going to be picking 1 or 2 maybe, it's like, even if Wake is 2 Mons, everyone else on a Sun team, especially considering Sun is abusable, like, with stalling out turns or stuff, that, like, every other Mon is just going to be, like, half a Mon, especially Torkoal. So, as long as I don't get a terrible trade into the Wake, I thought I wouldn't be too scared of it. Now, given that the 2 Terramons, Bulk and Walking Wake, are both, like, strong special attackers, I thought I'd just have a specially defense build Um, so my first thought was like Iron Hands should obviously be Assault Vest, and I don't think they had any doubt in their minds as well that I'd be Assault Vest. Oh, also my opponent was Faye. I think I've played them before, yeah, in Kickoff. But anyways, so I have heard of them, and I know they're a BGC player. I don't know if that translates to singles or not. Anyways, so yeah, my Iron Hands, probably Assault Vest, can take a bunch of hits, and it was supposed to be my Vault counter, because like, dude, my water resist plus fire resist are absolutely terrible. You can see I only have one real water resist, and two real fire resists. My idea was that, and I also, like, I didn't want to be too defensive against Sun Team, didn't want to be too passive, so then I decided I'd just abuse my two mods that were faster than Walking Wake, Iron Moth and Torn T. You can see they have no steel types, so then I was thinking Iron Moth could... the first thing about my Iron Moth... Okay, well, I want to boost her energy to outspeed the Walking Wake, because otherwise I didn't think it was doing that much. And then the second thing is that their hazard removal is Drifblim, which I didn't think was coming, and Torkoal, which you never really consider as hazard removal, and Hatterene is like a blocker. But then for my Iron Moth, which you don't really expect to be a T-Spiker, you want to bring in Hatterene against an Iron Moth, expecting T-Spikes, like that's not real. So I just thought I could easily just get up T-Spikes, and if you see, like, versus the whole team, it really, like, okay, it really synergizes well with my initial strategy of just trying to stall out Sun Turns, which I did with a lot of moves you'll see later in my build, but then, like, stalling out Sun Turns would also mean I get the chip damage from Poison, so it, like, work hand in hand. Otherwise, yeah, there are no steel types, so I thought I could try my hand at, like, an Acid Spray build, and then with Terra Poison, because that could really like put a dent in the team, because the only poison resist is a Sandy Shocks, which you don't want to be switching into Iron Moth, especially if there's Sun around, because that actually helps me. So yeah, I thought like I could easily pick up kills with this Iron Moth, because you know they're not really good switch-ins, and it outspeeds the whole team. So I really like Iron Moth in this matchup. Torn T, like, same thing as Iron Moth. I didn't really think it'd be doing anything if I were slower than Walking Wake. So I just gave it a choice scarf. And I was thinking, like, the only flying resist is Sandy Shocks as well. So, like, if I get up T-Spikes, and then, like, I can spam Bleak Wind or whatever, or Terra Blast, and eventually if I switch out and, like, get enough chip on it, like, my Torn will sweep and clean the endgame. So Tinkatana I thought would just be that staller I wanted, because it learns Fake Out, and then like I also give it Protect. It can stall out Sun Turns, and then also rack up chip damage with Poison. It could also get up Rocks, which like if the Torkoal were in a scenario where it died to Rocks, that'd be really helpful. And, you know, the blocker's Hatterene, which doesn't really work against Mold Breaker unless you have Ability Shield. I was actually kind of scared of that, to be honest. But then that's why, that comes back to, like, my Ting Lu idea. Now, my Ting Lu idea was, like, at first unclear. Like, I didn't want it to just be a Sandy Shocks answer, because it kind of loses to the rest of the guys. But then I said, like, Ting Lu taking a super effective hit is, like, 60%. And otherwise, this team has ground resist Meowscarada and otherwise Drifblim, which gets throat chopped, and you know it's not really like it's not really bulky at all. So I was thinking, like, to punish a Meowscarada lead, I could lead weakness policy Ting Lu, and like that doesn't really have any switch-ins, and it could also kind of punish Torkoal, you know, because EQ's doing like a decent amount of damage. So I thought, like, it'd just cover all the lead options. Like, Sandy Shocks lead just gets EQ'd. Hatterene doesn't really beat it. Meowscarada procs my weakness policy probably. Torkoal, like, gets chunked. Torkoal is honestly, like, the lead I was scared of the most, because, like, he just gets up Rocks and then goes away. But then I don't know who he'd go into. Like, I thought my Ting Lu would just always pick up a kill. I didn't see a scenario where it wouldn't. unless the Tauros came, but that's not real. Now the only issue I had with building was with the Tauros. I had no idea what the Tauros would be at first, and then I took inspiration from who was it? Oh, the Phantom Thieves' game against this team, the Spielchairs team, and they used an Endure Salic Thundi. And I was thinking, okay, Toro, that doesn't really work on Tauros, because after Salic, it's not faster than Walking Wake. But then, oh, okay, I'll get into the build. But then, Kudchu comes into play. Now, Kudchu's pretty inconsistent because, like, you take the hit, you eat your Salic, but then you have to wait another turn to eat the Salic. So then that's where the weird EVs can come in, and the weird EVs were meant to proc, like, guarantee proc against Terra Water, Proto Special Attack Specs. So that I can endure the next turn to guarantee the Kudchu. Now if it was Speed Booster, which it might have been, probably would have been, I didn't really have a like solid plan against that. I was just planning to like sack whatever's in front of me, go Iron Hands, and then hopefully I'd be able to time the Tauros bring in on the end of Sun turn, or just like bring in Tauros when Sun is ending. Yeah. And then, yeah, so my game plan was always just, like, lead Ting Lu, maybe Iron Hands, like, in the middle, and then Tauros would come in on Wake, because Wake always has to revenge Mons, and then proc Salic, and then go ham with Reversal. And that's the thing about Ting Lu, like, you'd always want Hatterene to come in on a Ting Lu, because it's, like, usually a hazard setter. So then I thought Ting Lu would be great at getting rid of the Hatterene, which would make Reversal sweeps much easier on my Tauros. Because, like, who else is taking on the Ting Lu, really? You'd kind of expect it to be the Hatterene. So then I gave it, like, a bunch of Spidef to, like, survive a Walking Wicked or something. But mostly, it's good against Hatterene as well. I gave my Moth, you know, the classic booster energy speed stuff. The Tinkaton... Oh, wait, this is the wrong pace. I was supposed to have, Protect instead of Knockoff, I think. Fake Out, Protect... And then Eject Button was just so that, the cool thing was that, I also had a plan for when I wanted to get up T-Spikes. With the Meowscarada out, I'd go Tinkaton, and if it knocks off the Eject Button, then I stay in because it knocked off the Eject Button, and then that'd be good because, like, I was expecting the Meowscarada to be choiced, so I want to have Tinkaton in on a Meowscarada that clicked Knockoff. But then if I go... but then if it clicks U-turn, then I get the button proc, and then I go Iron Moth, and assuming it's choice, U-turn isn't doing anything, so I can get a free T-Spikes there. So, like, Eject Button really worked well in theory. So, like, I really liked my prep for this game. The mocks were going extremely well. So, that being said, I guess I'll just get into the game. Here's the game. No cut necessary again. They have... Oh, wait, let me switch sides so you can hear my perspective. They benched Drifblim, Tauros like I expected, and they probably expected me to bench Lurantis, Knuckle stack. I actually entertained the thought of Lurantis, then I checked the calcs, I was like, wow, 1 Walkillion damage really is 1 Walkillion damage. It's not a good mod. Even if you need that water resist. Anyways, okay, as expected, the lead is Torkoal versus my Ting Lu. Here I just EQ. Unfortunately for them, I get a critical hit, and I'll talk about it later, but I think that actually changed the game a lot. Like, I don't know if I would have, like, I want to say I would have lost because of it, but it, like, if with rocks up, the game would have been completely different, I think. But then, yeah, they get the... Oh, I also mentioned I had Facade on this. Wait, let me check. You check my build. Yeah, I have Facade on this. Just, it didn't really come into play in any of my mocks, but I was just thinking, like, if I get burnt by the Volk somehow, you know, with, like, assuming Drifblim wasn't coming, Facade was, like, the freest click ever, because there's no normal resist. So, and then it came into play here, and now I can just spam Facade, right? Like, there's no drawback. Fortunately, I've, like, barely missed the 2-hit KO. God EVs. And then I took a lot from D-Gleam. I thought that was Specs, but then it's Life Orb. But this is what I wanted, you know? 26 on Torkoal, and then, like, a dead Hatterene. And like I said, I was expecting my Ting Lu to guarantee a kill, and seems like it did. Walking Wake comes out. Now it's speed. If it were special attack, I'd bring in Tauros, but it's speed. So, wait, what am I thinking? I was saying that in prep, like, if it were special attack, then I'd switch in and then endure. But, like, I wouldn't even need to endure because if it's special attack, it's my Tauros is faster after Salic. So, maybe my prep wasn't that good. I have like a decent plan. I mean, I guess I just want to live the one, you know? I don't need to be in Salic range, I just need to live the one. Okay, and then yeah, sack team, and this is what I said, you know, go Iron Hands, just do stuff. Volk comes out, and you know, Iron Hands was supposed to counter Volk, but then like, I didn't even bother calcing. I thought Iron Hands would be perfectly fine into the Volk, and the next turn really spooked me. Dude, I overheat 75. Like, I'm like highly SPDF AV hands, and that's like super bulky. But this is a spec bulk in the sun, and if that were Terrafire, that would have probably dropped my Iron Hands. And that would have been not good. I didn't really expect it to do that much damage. I mean, then I would bring in Torn and, you know, do Torn stuff. It would have been terrible. But yeah, fortunately I lived the hit. I killed Rock Slide. I didn't get burnt from Drain Punch, but I guess that wouldn't have mattered, assuming they stay in. But the thing is, it's like, I've been getting pretty lucky this game, I have to admit. The crit on Torkoal, and then no burn. Here? No, okay, well, you saw what I did there, but it said Sun 2 turns, so I switch in Tauros, take the Hydro Steam, then Sun 1 turn, and now, this is what I was talking about timing the Tauros. I can endure to stall out one more Sun turn, and then I get the Salic, and Sun's ended, so now I'm faster. And then, like, I don't even need the Kudchu. Yeah, endure. I take the Hydro Steam, and now Tauros will get cooking. Now, Reversal had a chance to kill here, so then that's why I went for it. And they go Sandy Shocks, and I guess in hindsight, Endeavor would have been better. And then they reveal to be Button, they go into Meowscarada. Now, the thing is, I actually tunnel visioned on Meowscarada being choiced. I just thought for sure it'd be Choice Scarf into this matchup, like to outspeed Torn. So that's why I tried like enduring. So I thought it was locked into Sucker Punch at this point. So I was just gonna endure 8 times if they clicked Sucker that many times. Yeah, so I just keep spamming endure. But then eventually, I think I die. Yeah, I clicked Thunder Punch. I was like, wait, what? It wasn't choiced. And then here, oh, dude, I remember this. Yeah. I go into Tinkaton, and I forgot my item. Like, I remember, oh, Tinkaton is supposed to be switching to this Meowscarada. Like, I just didn't even play according to plan at all. And then I forgot my item, so I button out. To be fair, it's not like terrible because I get rid of the button in case I want to bring it back earlier. And then I check the calcs with Moth, and I actually beat this Meowscarada. So it's chill. Now here, I didn't want to play any games T-spiking up. Like, I knew I lived Sucker unless it crit, so I was chill clicking Sludge Wave again. Now the thing is, they actually, I think the Spielchers were saying that, like, the play here is to go, like, Torkoal or Sandy Shock, sack one of them, and then go back to Meowscarada so that you get Stab, Sucker, and kill. I as much as I agree with that, like, they thought it'd win, but, like, that's the better play, but it didn't even win the game because I had T-spikes in the back. You see, that was, like, my secret strategy all along, and it didn't even need to come into play because the Meowscarada was sacked anyways, but... yeah, like, I could have T-spiked up and gotten the chip on Wake so that, like, with Tinkaton and Iron Hands. You know, Iron Hands also I'd fake out, so for Torn to win. So, like, it wouldn't have been terrible. But anyways, I got the chip on Walking Wake I needed with the Moth, and then I checked the calcs with Torn, and Terra Blast killed the rest of the team. So, that's exactly what happens. Terra Flying... yeah, usually in my mocks, even though Terra's Poison looked good on Moth, I really just wanted Terra Flying Torn as an endgame cleaner. Like, it for some reason always seemed better, even though in theory Moth went really in. But, I mean, Moth did the work, you know, killed the Meowscarada, got the necessary chip on Wake. which were the only two roadblocks for my Torn. Well, shout out to Tauros, reversaling the Sandy Shocks, which is the only flying resist. So that like really helped out my my setup. The thing is, it's kind of weird that they brought eject button on their only flying resist, because I thought maybe they would expect Terra or Scarf Torn and then like not try to lose to it like that, but alas, I got the win anyways. Maybe not a clean win if Torkoal or like it wasn't a clean win because Torkoal got crit, but then like if rocks went up, you know, I always had that T-Spike strategy I was saying, and that worked so well in Mox. So like, I don't like I don't not have faith in the fact that I would have won regardless, just because, you know, like my Iron Hands and Tinkaton didn't even get to put nearly like the same amount of work they were putting in these mocks, just because I didn't need to get T-Spikes, you know. Anyways, nice win, I guess. 3-0 going to mids was really nice. I'll upload a part 2 of my post mids run. Wasn't nearly no, it wasn't necessarily as good. It was like a pretty good run, but it wasn't as good, you know, because I went undefeated in pre mids. But anyways, yeah. As for now, as I'm recording this, our already went, or the season's already over. What am I saying? Or the season already over for us. Spoiler alert: our team didn't make it. Didn't make it to playoffs, and right now we're in finals. But my record overall was pretty good, so I'll upload that part later. Anyways, thanks for watching.